So, to start off, why did you want to do this podcast?
Well, given that we are in the time of technology and there's a lot of people out there that are going out there and telling their stories, I felt like, both of us have a really good story to tell. You came from your background, I came from mine. Evidently, even though we come from the same place, right, origin, we have our own stories to tell. So this would be a good way to kind of get our stories out there to inspire the people, and maybe it's even following our footsteps, to follow their dreams.
Listen, I don't want it to be the cringy shit. I just want to do something that's interesting and people can actually relate to, and people would actually, want to show their friends and want to talk about and relevant things that are happening like in everyday life. And I want to be able to bring people on our podcast that, are very influential, that are very hardworking in the business aspect, people that we work with every day. And I want them to be able to tell their story. And based off that, I want people,
This would be a good outlet.
When you need a little bit motivation in the morning,
Yeah,
you turn on TikTok, you start watching some videos, you want some David Goggins pumping you, some Joe Rogan. I want to do something along those lines, something where we can really tell our story and bring other people that would tell their story.
This would be a really good outlet, I'll be honest with you. It just, like you said, you wake up in the morning, you grab your cup of coffee. Maybe you won't even brush your teeth, right? You're just chilling Saturday morning, Sunday night, whatever it is.
I feel like everyone's doing something right now, like online, and everyone's making videos. And, I think it's time for us to, do our thing.
Step out there.
So what do you got for me? Well, what first question you got for our podcast?
All right. So we'll ask you a little bit about yourself. Basically, just introduce yourself, where you come from, how old you are, what you like to do for work, what are your hobbies.
So, my name's Daniel. I'm 26. Just turned 26 in October. And I am auto plug. We do leasing financing out of Great Neck. We do all makes, all models, and we're here to help. I started this about 5 years ago when I was actually originally working as a delivery driver for my now partner Danny. I would say he's sort of my mentor, and he showed me the ropes. And 6 offices later, 5 years later, and here we are.
Listen, maybe we can even get him on this podcast.
I spoke to him before we got here. Hopefully, that's going to be next week's segment.
No, that'd be really interesting. So you said that you 6 offices down. You're in your location now. So where are you guys located?
As I said, we're in Great Neck right now, right off Northern, where all the dealerships are.
Okay.
We have a pretty big office. We have a showroom inside. So we do all lease cars, as I said. We're also getting into the like luxury used car market now, which is mostly what we specialize in. We do mostly like BMW, Mercedes, Porsche, Lamborghini. We do a lot of Bentley. We also do high end, not only high end car. We do economy cars. We do Hyundai, Nissan, Mazda, anything.
So basically, you do from your daily driven cars, from your Toyotas all the way up to Rolls Royce, the exotics.
Yeah, 100%. And we deal with a wide variety of clients, down from the low end to the middle class to all the way up to the high end people that you might see day to day, and you talk about and you strive to be like.
Interesting. Okay, so. In that case, how did you get to where you are today, right? So you obviously, like everyone else, faced a lot of hardships, troubles, hurdles. How did that kind of encourage or mold you to be the person that you are today?
Well, listen, I started off in Francis Lewis High School in Queens. From there, I actually I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And I'm a very last-minute person. Ended up going to NASA Community College for a year, did all my prerequisites, and then I transferred over to Delphi for pre-med. Well, then transferred to pre-dental. I graduated, I took the DAT, and last minute I just, I realized that this is just maybe not what I want to do. And at the same time, I told you Danny came along, and He was leaving where he was working at the time. He's starting off his own stuff, and I went to go work for him. I was doing deliveries for him, delivering cars to people for I think maybe like 2 years beforehand. And then when he went, he said, listen, come work for me. If it goes well,
Yeah. So
we'll go partnership. And
no,
I left dentistry. I went and worked for him, and here we are now, 5 years later.
Yeah. So we essentially have a similar story, right? We grew up in the same area, around the same people. Grew up in Queens. I grew up in Fresh Meadows, Forest Hills area. He grew up in pretty much same Forest Hills, Rego Park area. And going to Forest Hills High School, you meet, there's 5,000 kids in that school. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know what connections you're going to make or what connections you're going to need later down the line. Your partner, Danny, which is evidently my boss, I went to high school with him. He was a year or two older.
Remember those days?
Yeah. Danny was always that kid. He had the cool cars and, he had pretty much a life that every child would want, but I never knew that I'd be working with him side by side, working with you side by side with One Stop Auto Group.
You got to get more into the story. You got to get more into how me and you started.
So Danny and I actually started lifeguarding together in 2016, 2016. I was on the stand one day and I see Danny walk in, and we had our manager and bosses who were two brothers at the time, and my shift just ended to get off the stand, and I walk over to Danny, I say hi to him, I dap him up. We started talking, and ever since then our friendship kind of, it started from that moment.
And here we are 10 years later, working together again.
It's been one hell of a ride, I could say. I went to Hofstra University, you went to Delphi University, your
fraternity house was right next to yours.
Was right next to mine, and it's crazy how small this world is, right? Like, it works in such mysterious ways where I never thought that we'd be working side by side together.
String theory, baby.
And to even sit here and to be able to kind of be influential in a way where I grew up, my father, mother, they were working 24/7. I had a little brother, or I have a little brother actually. He looked up to me. You, I'm sure, had your cousins, because I know that you're an only child. Your cousins, family, friends that you looked up to, your parents. But it was essentially hard, right? Kind of grew up in a middle class economy. My mom got sick at a very young age. It was hard. It was really, really hard. I had to take care of my brother. I had to take care of my family. I had to take care of, as a man, I knew that I had my duties, just like you knew that you had your duties. So,
boy, what a journey it was the last few years, huh? Going from college to the real world was a transition.
It all happens in the blink of an eye. Let me just tell you that. I'm 26, not knowing what I knew. So, like, let's say we go back to, like, when I was 20 years old, right? If I knew what I knew now back then, my whole story would be different. And that would be different for everybody, right?
Sitting in St. John studying, thinking we're gonna be high members of society.
I went to school for cybersecurity. You went to school for dentistry. How we ended up in the car market, only God knows, right?
Listen, I think we're doing pretty good.
No, we are, definitely. And that's what I kind of wanted to touch base on, right? So you went to school for dentistry. What made you want to kind of shift from working in people's mouths,
I mean, listen, you know how our community is. If you're not a doctor or a lawyer, you're not a person.
Yeah.
So listen, you follow. You don't really know what you're doing. You do what society pushes you to do. You do what your parents want you to do, and you go along with the flow until the flow stops, and you have to take life.
Yeah.
And you got to do what you got to do.
By the balls. You got to take life by the balls.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do, and push comes to shove. It's a big life decision. It's not like something where you're going to be in for 2 years. It's you're in school for so long. You're so goal oriented. You're always thinking about the next test, always thinking about the next semester, what classes you're going to take, what you're going to do, and then you go from that to real world. Yeah. And they don't teach you nothing. They don't tell you anything. They don't tell you how people are. They don't tell you how business is. They don't tell you. Everyone thinks it's easy. Everyone only sees the good days. Nobody sees the sitting in the office till 2 a.m. grinding. You have a whole list, and people are thinking like, "Yo, when are you gonna go home?" when the job's
Yeah,
done.
when the
It's
job's
not,
done.
owning a business and working with clients, it's not, there's no 9 to 5. You sit there
Yeah.
until the job's done, and the job is never done. Every day you're working, and there's no end. And when, we as people, when we don't see an end, it's very hard to make a plan.
Right.
So it's a battle. Every day is a battle, and you push forward, and you got to keep going. That's the only way. You got to keep going. You got to keep moving forward, and there's no other way.
So I just wanted to touch base on and basically kind of go over where we come from. So our parents are from former Soviet Union, Uzbekistan, correct. And people there are very well educated, because without an education, you essentially can't go anywhere, right? You can't make something
It's
of
like
yourself.
Culture. It's a culture.
Yeah.
It's like it's
They
from
want
when
you to
we're
be a
young. They
doctor,
tell us
lawyer,
this stuff. Yeah.
businessman. They want you to get into like the financial district or something in the medical field, whether you're
Listen,
a nurse.
the key word when I was growing up, stability.
Yeah.
But in New World America, stability is not a thing.
It's
From the way that things are going, making 150, 200K is not normal anymore. You can't live
survive
anymore.
off
You
that.
know what I'm saying? You can't live how you want to live. Like, yeah, you can get by 100%, you can get by well, but you can't live this life that you want to live. You know what I'm saying? You have dreams, you have aspirations, you want to drive a nice car, you want to go on nice vacations, you want to be able to provide for your wife, provide for your children. It's not easy.
Yeah.
You gotta do.
You got to put in the work.
You gotta do questionable things
you
to
have to.
get things that you want to get. So listen, gotta do what you gotta do.
Going based off that, you got to do what you got to do. What does that mean for you, right? So to me, what you got to do means you got to stand up, and in a male role, you got to be the man.
Yeah,
You gotta
100%.
take care of your family. You got to do things that are considered not traditional, right? Not your everyday norm, I would say. You have to kind of stand up and grab life by the balls. You can't make something of yourself by working. Let me rephrase that. You could work your 9 to 5 and be something, but if you want to be something greater, essentially you have to kind of step out of that zone. And
Listen, you're stuck in this bubble for 10 years of like when you start college to when you're 4 or 5 years out of college. You get into this bubble, and everybody thinks that what they're doing is right, and power to them. I'm not saying that becoming a dentist or a doctor or a lawyer is bad. It's great. We need these
100%.
kind of people, and it's very important, and they make a lot of money, and they're very successful, and I take my hat off to them. It's to sit in school is hard. Coming from someone that did it, let's say halfway, it's not easy. It's I've had my cousin, I've had my friends that have done this, and I have a lot of respect for these people. But at the end of the day, you have to have a passion for what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have a passion for what you're doing, even if you're able to provide, what is life? These 10 years you're going, and all that's put in your head in our culture and our community is you got to make money, you got to be able to support. But is that all?
yeah,
How about you? How about
What
your
about your
soul?
mental
You know what I'm
health and all
saying?
that stuff,
I'm not trying to sound cringy, but
No, I know, but still,
you
like-
want to be happy. You want to like when I go to work every day. Yeah, it's hard,
Yeah.
but it's like a lounge.
Yeah.
We're hanging
we
out.
work-
we
listen,
have
there's
all
about
our
13
friends.
guys in our
We
office.
can leave when we want. We can go as we want, and it's not really work. It's more of like it's like a fun time.
Yeah.
I'm not on any schedule. For me, the biggest asset is time, and having time, like being able to come to work at any time I want, being able to leave. I mean, listen, the job still needs to get done, but
Of course.
when I'm able to do it on my own schedule, mentally, I feel much freer. Mentally, I feel like I can really be me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You're not confined by time. You're not confined by following a schedule in terms of like you have to come in at work, you have to have lunch for an hour, 30 minutes, let's just say paid time, not paid time.
Time is the biggest asset.
The best thing about where we work, for me, I can do this all around the world. I can be in Dubai, I can be in Russia,
100%.
I can be in Belarus, I could be in Africa if I wanted to be, or in Antarctica.
I think I work better whenever I'm away. Whenever I go on vacation and I'm selling cars from God knows
It
where.
pushes you to do more. Like,
And think about all the people that you've met along the way, all the connections that you've had.
yeah,
Think about it. Look at all the people that you've met and all people that you have in your log that you can call, the kind of resources you have. It's not about what you know, it's about who you know.
and that's another key to life, right? A lot of people, they say, go to school, you have to finish school, you have to have an education, you're going to make it, don't worry about it. After you finish school, everything's okay.
Yeah, but it's a lie.
It's a
it's a lie.
It's a facade. Let me just tell you this. It's a facade. Why is it a facade? Because you go to school, you're trapped. You're like a mouse that's chasing a cheese wheel that you're never going to be able to catch.
Listen, don't get me wrong.
You'll never
and
be able to catch it.
And I want to say it again.
No.
School is very important. You need to go to college. As much as you think college is a scam, college is important in my opinion. I met a lot of people and I found myself in college.
Yes, for certain degrees though.
100%.
If you're going to, I don't know, just to get your prereqs, right? Just to say that you did it, you get your associate's degree, you're wasting your time.
100%.
Find yourself.
You got to do something that's worth.
Exactly.
100%.
Find a niche, find something that you're really good at and stick to it. Because if you're just gonna be free willy-nilly, you're never gonna be able to make it.
No, school is very important, and you gotta find yourself. You gotta find what makes you want to wake up in the morning and continue life, because life only gets harder, and it's a challenge every day. But when you're doing something that you like, and you feel free inside, and you feel like you're working on your own schedule, and you're doing what you love, and you're dealing with people that it makes you happy, and happiness is the most important thing when it comes to the future. I mean, listen, stability is important, but
stability, happiness, wealth.
You figure it out.
Most importantly, you want to be surrounded by people who love you, who cherish you, who want to see you grow. Because without any of that, what's the point of working? You're going to be working your job, right? Let's say you're a doctor, you're saving lives. Great. Like that. We need doctors.
100%.
We need nurses. We need lawyers. We need dentists. We need people that are going to be able to fill these roles. But we also need people essentially like you and I who want to go out there, venture the world, market ourselves.
And listen, people think cars is all we do. Cars is obviously not all we do. When you meet people in different industries, you make connections, you make movements, and you do what you got to do. And you got to, whenever you don't go to school, whenever you go for this entrepreneur lifestyle, you can't just do one thing. When you go to school and you get a degree, you're doing one thing forever. Yeah, you might be involved in different aspects of your niche, but you're doing one thing. If you're a lawyer, yeah, you might do different types of law, but you're doing law. Yeah. Yeah, if you're a doctor, you might have different kind of specialties, but at the end of the day, you're a doctor. When you're an entrepreneur, it doesn't work that way. It really doesn't work that way. For me, how I see it, it's a 3-stage plan. The first 10 years is the first 8 to 10 years, you have to gain capital. If you don't already have some kind of money saved up, or you don't have some maybe like family money that that they can pass down to you, that your father or mother can help you out with, you gotta gather the money. You gotta make money. When money makes money, you need to have capital to be 100%. Able to make movements in the entrepreneur world. Once you have money, or as we like to call it, me and my friends refer to it as a cash cow, you got to make money. Once you have money, you can invest in 100 different things, and you can make passive income, whatever kind of type of income you want. But you need to have money. That's stage 1. Stage 2, you have to take that money while the money still needs to come in. You have to open up a flow or multiple flows of money. You have to start investing your money. If you make all this money and you just blow it, what are you left with? Nothing. You gotta invest your money. You cannot spend you start working, you start making money, you feel hot, you go buy a fancy car, go buy fancy clothes, go to expensive restaurants, expensive vacations. You can't do that. You have to save your money, and you need to invest it correctly. Once you have it invested, and listen, it's okay to spend a little bit of money here and there. You got to splurge on yourself.
But you can't be reckless with it.
But you cannot be reckless with it. Listen, you want to get a nice car? Get a nice car. But you can't go overboard. You got to do what you can afford. Don't try to
bite more than you can chew.
Yeah, don't try to, and I've done that before. Yeah. And I've gotten really, really, really clipped. But you learn from it. And that's another more like very important thing. You must learn from your mistakes. When you're in business, everybody's out to get you. My day consists of people trying to take money away from me. And the goal is to stop them and take the money from them. Every phone call is a sale. It's either they sell you or you sell them. You understand? Bringing me back to my 3-phase process. You get the money, you have to invest the money. Once you invest the money,
then you can
enjoy. And then you invest in the biggest asset that, in my opinion, that you have, your wings, your children. That is the final stage. That is bringing your family to wealth. Once you can make the money that's coming into your account, you can invest it into your kids, and then they can become members of society, and they stand on their own 2 feet, and they're running the show, and you're just there as a mentor. For me, that's true success. That's when I feel like I made it. When my kids are going to be able to run the show that I started without me, I think that is the highest level of success and happiness that there is in our community. I see fathers that came here as immigrants. They worked their ass off. They did all the questionable things.
Yeah.
They saved the money. They made the money. They invested into their children, and now their children are running their show while the dad gets to come to work. Chill. I think that is the biggest flex that you can have. As soon as that's done, you can enjoy.
So this all came from, right, to put it into perspective, you and I both grew up with working families. My mom was working, your
100%.
dad was working, my dad was working. We come from middle-class working families.
100%.
It's not like anything was ever given to us. Now, because of that, we saw how hard they work. Now, they leave to work 7 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, and they don't come home till 7, 8 o'clock at night, maybe even later. You know, and
listen, it's
to
tough.
have that mindset that you and I have, it's very rare to come by, right? Because there's a lot of people that have they're in the same situation that we're in, but they don't do anything with it. They're like, you know what? If my parents can do it, I can do it. They don't want to be better, right? But we want to be better. We essentially want to go ahead and kind of strive for the greatest. We want to be the best.
100%. That's us. That's how it's written in our Torah. How it's written in most people's book of wisdom. For me, it's my mentality is how I grew up. I'll tell you a story. How I grew up when my parents got divorced. I think when I was around like 10 years old, 11 years old, my parents got divorced. We moved, 10, 15 blocks over. I live with my mom. Still spoke to my dad. We didn't really have anything. My mom was a single mom. Yeah, thank God she had a career. Thank God she had the stability, and we lived paycheck to paycheck. When we moved into the new apartment my mom rented, I was sleeping in the same bed as her because we couldn't afford another bed. We didn't have a couch. We didn't have a dining room table. We didn't have a microwave. I'm not saying we were poor. I lived great. My mom made thank you to my mom. Thank you to you. We had nothing. Yeah, thank God we were good. We had food. I went to school. I'm not saying that I was like freaking in the slums.
No, I know.
But listen, there was a lot of things that I couldn't do because of the fact that I didn't, we just didn't have it. I didn't even have a car. I told you I went to Nassau Community College. I would drive my mom to work at 6 a.m., go to school, do my school thing, go back to my mom, sit there for 2-3 hours till she finished work, did my homework, slept in the car, and then we went home. And I did that for 2 years. It's tough, but it brought me to, I feel like it's important. It was an important phase. I don't wish it on anyone, but it was an important phase. Why? Because it taught me that even if I have $1 million in my bank account, I act like I have nothing.
Gotta be humble.
That's the way
you have to be humble.
That's the way you go up.
The thing is you did this for your mom, right? But your mom did so much more.
My mom gave up so much for me.
And not just your mom,
a lot.
My family, my parents, my siblings, my grandparents, everybody that I've ever known came through. You came through for me, and I will never be able to kind of repay that gratitude, right? The way I can repay it, finding new things that we can do.
This podcast.
Like this podcast. The way that I can repay it is being there for them when I needed them most. They were there for me, so I want to be there for them now. Growing up was not easy. Again, it wasn't easy. My mom was sick. My dad was working like a dog. My brother was in school. I was in school. And now, it's not like we went to bad high schools. You went to Francis Lewis. Yeah. I went to Forces High School. But the conditions that we grew up in those schools it was flight or fight mode.
It was flight or fight. Kill or be killed. Honestly,
exactly.
It sounds like a joke, but it was. It's kill or be killed. You look at the person the wrong way, they might, it's 10 against 10 after school. 5,000
kids in our school. Forces High School.
Same thing with me.
5,000 kids. You walk in every morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. Like I had class 7 o'clock in the morning. It was my first period was gym.
I know you didn't go to that.
No, I definitely did. But listen, again, my first class was gym, 7:30 in the morning. You walk into the hallway, there's different ethnicities, different racial groups.
A melting pot.
It's a melting pot. It's a crock pot. And every day there was a fight. Every day you walk in not knowing, am I going to get stabbed? Am I going to get shot?
And Eric was the center of it. He was the head honcho in charge.
No. Listen, the things that I went through molded me who I am today, just like the things 100%. That you went through molded who you were. But you took 100%. The things that molded you and made something better out of it.
That's important.
You know, that's what's important. You can be put in the same positions that you and I were put in. Mind you, they weren't that crazy. Right? It was crazy, but it wasn't that crazy. People have it a lot worse. People 100%. Are living on the street. Families can't pay for food or water. They're begging on the side of the road. And I see these people, and I don't feel it's not that I feel bad, but I want them to be able to have the same opportunities that kind of we have now.
100.
So if we can help them out in any situation, in any way, we help them out.
I'll tell you this one thing, and people might watch this podcast and people might send it to their friends and people might laugh and say that we're cringy, but I have come across so many young men and so many people and so many young women that are just really struggling and are really like they're in that 19 to 22 age.
Yeah.
And they're really not knowing what they're doing. Their parents have pushed them to do all these things, and
it's not even what they want to do.
They don't know if that's what they want to do, and it's mentally when you as a person you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what the next 5 years is going to look like. Your mental health is really, really, really affected. And I'm going to tell you one thing: keep moving forward. That is the only way. You keep going. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it.
Bet on yourself. If there's anything that you're going to take from whatever Danny just said, is bet on yourself. If you think that you could go out there, make something of yourself, at the same time do what you love to do, you're set.
Don't listen to anybody. You do what you want to do inside, and if it doesn't work, the only person that you're going to blame is yourself. And honestly, that's way better because you can't blame your mom or your dad. You blame yourself. You take the L and you keep it pushing.
Keep going.
And you just have to be nonstop working, grinding. You just have to keep going. That is the only way. Everything is one thing that I learned.
Sacrifices need to be made.
Everything is temporary. Pain is temporary. You're sick, it's temporary. You're broke, it's temporary. As long as you keep going. You know how many people told me? You know how many people laughed at me to go from dentistry to selling cars? And what now? I'm not saying that I'm some kind of big millionaire rich guy, but I think I'm doing well for myself. I think I'm doing okay. Yeah, I'm not on the Forbes, 100 list, but I'm doing okay for myself. I can provide for myself. I can provide whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. I go wherever I want.
You're still working wherever you go.
Yeah, I have people that look up to me now, and not in a way, not in an ego way. I don't want to seem like I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to sound like that. You just have to keep going. You have to keep going no matter what, no matter who tells you no matter who laughs at you, no matter who just tells you that you're a loser. You got to keep going. When you keep going, everything works out in the end. Because I believe in God.
Yeah.
That's the only way. When you're down bad, and I've been really down bad, Eric, and you know how down bad I've been.
I've been
$50K in credit card debt coming out of college. My girlfriend freaking broke up with me. I was bad.
Yeah.
But you know what happened? I kept going, and look at me now.
From lifeguarding to selling cars.
About to get married. Life is good. My girlfriend loves me. I love my girlfriend. I'm working. I got people working under me. I have people that I thought I was going to work for coming to work for me now.
Yeah.
And we're making it. We're making waves.
We're making it work. See, that's the thing. So we're finding new ways to branch out, right? Whether it's making new connections, like you said, whether it's working with certain people, whether it's being introduced to somebody from somebody that you helped out, right? I can help you get a car, no problem. Lease, finance, new car, used car, daily car, exotic car. We can make that work. But at the same time, seeing you happy makes me feel a lot better. Why? Because knowing that I helped you with this situation.
Been a journey.
I helped you with this car. Now, what's going to happen? You're going to go ahead and say, hey, listen, I know a guy that can help you.
I know a guy.
I know a guy that can put you in a lease, in a finance, and this, like you build yourself this way. You build a book for yourself. And when you build a book for yourself, you can take that book and utilize it for anything.
It's not what you know. It's who you know. And that brings you a really, really long way. A lot more. You're in this bubble when you're in college, when you're in your community, you're in a bubble.
You gotta get out
and
of
you
it.
don't see the real world. I'm not trying to sound cringy. I'm not no Andrew Tate. But you cannot be in this bubble. You have to get out of the matrix. You have to be able to do stuff that you love and that you're passionate about and that makes you happy every single day. Not every day is happy, but
You make it work.
you make it work. It's a journey. It's a ratio. You got to have 5 good days for every 2 bad days. Listen, it's one day at a time, and hopefully through this small little podcast we can reach out and really help people with mental health. Help people do what they want to do and tell them that it's, do it. Don't be scared. Fucking push. It's fine. People will laugh. Your mom's gonna tell you you're a loser. My mom told me I was a loser for 5 years.
Not only your mom.
Now,
right?
yeah.
It's just, again, you know why? It's because there's a stigma. And the stigma is you got to go to school. You have to get your diploma. You have to get your degree. You have to work under somebody or work in a field where it's stability.
Fuck society. You got to do what makes you happy. At the end of the day, you're in charge. And you got to live with these decisions, not them. You do. And you got to put up with this shit. And you got to go through life doing this every single day. You got to be happy. That is the most important thing. You got to be happy. You got to have time on your side. And you just got to do what you got to do.
So with a vision, with a goal, with a passion for what you love and the right people around you, you can accomplish the world.
Right people around you is very important.
You could take over the world. What matters most? Again, the people around you, your business partners, your friends, your family, the girl that you're with.
Right people is very, very, very important.
The girl, the boy, he, she, whatever it is.
I was down bad until my partner came and found me and pulled me out the slum. Without him, honestly, I would not be where I am right now.
It makes a big difference. It makes a big difference in a way where if you have the wrong people around you, you could
100%.
You can end up in jail.
100%.
You can be dead. You can end up in a financial debt. You could be, it takes a real toll around you. You know it. I know it.
Your mom told you, it's tell me who your friend is and I'll tell you who you are. And it's true.
Always.
It's very true. If you're around people, if you have 3 guys that do drugs, you're going to be the 4th.
Let me tell you a story, right? The story is, it's a quick story. I was working for a pharmacy. It was a small little mom and pop shop. I had a best friend. I'm not going to name any names. This person was keeping me at the same level that he was at. When I was telling him, hey, let's do this, let's do that, let's have a business. I have a business idea. Let's kind of venture off. He would tell me, I'm good where I am. I have to I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. I don't want to go and venture off. I'm not taking the chance on myself. Me, I said, fuck you. I went, I did what I wanted to do. You essentially brought me back into
Eric the auto plug.
You essentially brought me back into this business. I've been doing this since 2018. It took me throughout college. It took me throughout all my financial, debt. I was working for somebody at the time, and he was even a piece of shit. I could tell you a story about that. But you know what? The troubles that I went through in life, the things that I've learned progressing, right? So I started off working for somebody. He taught me pretty much whatever he needed to teach me. I stopped leasing. I went into my career. I finished Hofstra University, got my degree in cybersecurity, computer science, cybersecurity, worked at JP Morgan for a year, and then I said, I'm done. I don't want it. I'm tired of being capped at a certain salary. I know I have higher potential. That's when you and I had the
now
conversation.
We're doing things. Leasing. We open up the retail spot. We're working on our body shop venture. Listen, you got to do what you got to do. And I'll tell you one thing. If you take one thing away from today's session, don't let anybody, especially people that are not where you want to be, tell you what you should do with your life.
100%.
They're not where they're not, I bet you they're insecure and they're just trying to hold you down.
That's exactly
from being
what it was.
The real you.
That's exactly what it was. They don't want you to be better than them, but they also don't want you to be on the same level as them. So they want to keep you beneath. They want to keep you at a level beneath them.
People want you to succeed, but not more than them.
Exactly, and it's always going to be the case. Pick wisely who your friends are. Pick wisely who you trust and who you bring in your inner circle. Pick wisely who you want to be with for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Those 3 things are the most important.
100%.
One, if your wife is nagging you all day long and she's stressing you out, you won't be able to work. And if you won't be able to work, you won't be able to make money. That's, again, those 3 things. You won't be able to do it.
You're right. You got to be around the right people. You got to have the right people on your team for you to succeed.
Yeah, you have to find
100%.
somebody that's going to be able to, de-stress you. You had a long day at work. We talk to people. We make over 500 phone calls.
It's true.
Collectively, right? I can make 500 phone
And
calls.
some days I have every minute of my day accounted on my call log.
Exactly. And you just want to come home and you want peace and quiet.
Yeah.
You can't have that. If you can't have peace and quiet when you come home, and you can't have peace and quiet when you go to work, you're dead.
Yeah.
In my eyes, you're dead. Why?
You're right.
You can't sleep. You come to work, you're tired, you're fatigued, you don't remember things, you're forgetful. I have those moments where I mess up. Nobody's perfect.
It's tough.
It is tough. And it's very important. Bet on yourself. Have the right people around. Yeah, it's
hot in here, bro.
Bet on yourself. Have the right people around you. And most importantly, do what you love.
Yeah.
I grew up around cars my whole life. I was a kid that had a $80 bike, small little BMX bike. I've used that bike up until I was like 18 years old. I'm not even kidding. I put a bottle, like a Poland Spring bottle, in behind the wheel, was making those engine sounds. I've been doing that since I was a kid. I went from driving a Nissan Rogue to a Jeep Grand Cherokee to a Dodge Durango to a Genesis, and now I have an M5. Obviously, I want to strive for more. I want to strive for greater, but having a passion for cars was something that I've always had. Whether it was learning how to build an engine, how to take off a transmission, how to do an oil change, how to work on any electrical component. Like when I had my Genesis a couple months ago, the first thing I did to it was I installed ambient lighting. I installed ambient lighting.
Mr. Ambient Lighting.
Yeah, like I was installing ambient lighting in cars, finding ways to kind of
when life gives you lemons, you got to make lemonade.
You got to make the best of it. And you know what? I made a business out of it. The business was short. But
short-lived, but listen, you learn.
Now somebody says, hey, listen, let's say they get a Nissan Rogue, doesn't come with ambient lighting. They want to put ambient lighting in the car.
Money's money. Money is money. $100 is still profit, and you can't do anything without profit. That's what I tell all the guys that work with us. As long as you make $1, it's profit. You succeeded.
You succeeded.
As long as you don't lose money, you succeeded.
But you can't make money if you're lazy, right? So
That's true.
You're going to come into this field thinking, listen, we make big money. You don't make big money. The only way you make big money is if you invest in yourself, if you believe in yourself. Because if you believe in yourself, you're unstoppable.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to be able to convince you otherwise. You took the bet on yourself, you believed in yourself, and look where you are today.
Listen, my mom told me every single day that what I'm doing is stupid and go become a dentist and no one's going to want to.
What if something happens?
Yeah, what if something happens? How are you going to pay for it?
What if the dealerships are not selling cars?
It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And it's not only with leasing, it's with anything. It's if you are leasing is not what makes me money. I'm what makes me money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know how many things that I'm involved in? It's you are what, and my partner taught me this. It's you. Nothing makes anything. You make everything. A car doesn't make you. Watch doesn't make you. Clothes don't make you. You make you. If you put me right now in the middle of freaking Africa, I promise you I'll survive. Because you can take leasing away from me, but you can't take away the knowledge that I have, the people that I've met, the connections that I made. That's what's most important. And that's what brought me to where I am now. And we're pushing, and I'm as I said, I'm not no Forbes 100, but
that's
we're
where
pushing.
We
It's a day-by-day challenge, and it's small victories, small goals, all leading up to the big goal.
What the big goal is? Generational wealth. God
willing. God
you want to
willing.
leave enough money,
God willing.
right? For your kids, for your grandkids, for your great-grandkids.
That's all we're here for.
Now, when all that does come, obviously you're going to get married, you're going to have children, they're going to have children. One thing that my parents did was they never gave me anything. I had to earn it.
100%.
You're never going to be able to do something with yourself or become somebody if you're constantly given things. You're not learning any lessons. You're not learning what to do, how to do it. My father always said, 2 things work. It's either your brain or your hands. You can have both, right? Both work. But in this situation, like the dynamic that we have, you're the brains. I work with my hands. I'm not saying I'm stupid. I'm not saying I'm the most not intellectual person. But I'm trying to say is that everyone
has their thing. And you make it work.
And you make it work. You put things together. I come to you for advice. You come to me for advice. We come to Danny for advice. Danny comes to us. We try to lead each other in the right direction because we all want to make it. We all want to succeed. Some of us have it easier than others, 100%. But you know what? Those things, those troubles that you go through make you who you are today.
True.
My father never got anything. My mother never got anything handed to them. I never got anything handed
True.
to them. My brother never got anything handed to them. But you know what? They made something of themselves.
Make it work. Keyword, you make it work.
My father had a kid at 19. My older half brother had a kid at 19. Quit school, was working was one of those push carts selling breakfast in front of Long Island Jewish Hospital. Can you believe, bro? He used to wake up 3 o'clock in the morning to go set up that push cart for breakfast to have people come in for morning rush at 6 o'clock in the morning. Tea, coffee, bagels, donuts.
Bro, I have crazy stories. I had these 2 kids working for me, brothers. Their dad, when he first came to America, bro, I think this guy would sleep 2 hours a day. And now he bought a house in freaking Long Island, huge house. His kids are all set up and everything is going good. He would wake up, he would go work in the bakery delivering cakes. Then he would go to his freaking barber job. Then from there, he would go, do limousine driving.
That's how they all started.
And now look at him. He's up, and his kids are all his right and left hands, and they're moving together as a family, as a unit. It's scary.
Again, it's important to have the right people around you.
It's scary, but you got to make it work.
You make it work.
Hopefully next week we can have somebody on the podcast that will be able to tell their story, and hopefully that's where I want to take the direction of this podcast. I want to have people on here that that can tell their story, and maybe you can relate to that and you can build off that. All you need is someone to look up to, and you need a little bit of motivation, and you need someone to tell you that, listen, I started here and I can do it. That's when I was in college, somebody would tell me I passed the test. I believe that I can do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So hopefully people take something from this and really all comes from a great place. And I really just want everyone around us to be successful. And I'm happy for everyone, and I want everyone to keep working and doing their thing. Yeah, Don't let anybody tell you no.
So everybody has their own story, right? Everyone has
my favorite line.
Everyone has their own story. Me, you, the production team behind all of this, everybody has their own story.
Shout out Bella Vita.
Shout out Bella Vita, yeah. And the most important thing is to understand what made them, and to take something inspirational out of it. I'm not saying, again, that we are the best people.
We're not close to it. We're the bottom of the bottom.
There's people out there that you might look up to, that your parents might look up to, that your partners might look up to, that have a story. And that those stories are going to be told from, let me ask you a question. We'll put it together, right? We'll make it work. We'll have a guest speaker, whoever it is, and we'll hear them out. We hear what they have to say. There's so many people out there that have been through life or have gone through more than what we're going through now, that have a little bit more advice that they can give to tell their story so that somebody else can make their own story. The whole point of this podcast is to get out there, talk about, things that we knew, things that we went through, the leaps and hurdles that we had to take to get where we are.
Our little passion project.
Yeah. Listen.
See you here next week. All right. That's that.
Yeah,
I'm done.